soccer managers that I met during the year was Barry Williams of Sutton United. During last season's run in the FA Cup, one of his team talks included a quotation from the Venerable Bede.
Ah, well, yes, that's right. What I likened, it was the allegory of the sparrow that was born in darkness and flew momentarily into sunlight and back into darkness. What I was trying to say there was that the non-league clubs such as ours find themselves in the spotlight of publicity for a brief moment, getting to the third round of the FA Cup. And if we lose on Saturday, I don't think we will, but if we do, then on Monday we'll be yesterday's men, and we'll go back to the fairly nondescript light of the non-league sector.
I met some familiar faces in rather unfamiliar surroundings. Paul Gascoigne.
7 FA Cup final in extra time, one of the most exciting finals in recent times. For the part-timers from Surrey, it'll be a dream come true just to be lining up against First Division opponents. Merely avoiding defeat will be a major achievement, where there's no shortage of confidence at Gander Green Lane.
Yeah, the club wouldn't play the game here if we didn't think we had an outside chance. It's going to be an outside chance, but like I say, they wouldn't play the game here if we didn't have that chance.
Of course, Sutton's minnows already know what it's like to be FA Cup giant killers. Last season, they claimed the league scalps of Aldershot and Peterborough. They also took Middlesbrough to a replay in the third round, thanks to a late header by Mark Golly. In the return at Ayresome Park, Golly's brother Nigel was only inches away from a real upset. It's an impressive record that Coventry will ignore at their peril.
I think maybe they're a little bit apprehensive about coming to Gander Green Lane because pro clubs never like coming to non-league grounds. You know, they're always a little bit apprehensive. I think that man for man, they'll certainly be better players. But I'm hoping that during the course of the afternoon, perhaps the rub of the green and the cup is fantasy, so maybe we can have a fantastic result because of that fantasy.
Sutton's secret weapon is Jamaican international Lenny Dennis, Dr. Spock to his teammates, and the club's leading marksman with 23 goals. Skipper Tony Raines is their most experienced player, and much depends on goalkeeper Trevor Roffey, whose father David was beaten 6 times when Sutton were thrashed by Leeds in 1970. Roffey Jr. is anxious to avoid that kind of nightmare. John Gubber for Thames News.
They brought a smile to Wembley. But when they arrived to view Sutton's ground this afternoon, things were a little more tense. After all, the Sky Blues are used to First Division surroundings. Meanwhile, 5 miles away, at the headquarters of the Legal and General Insurance Group, Sutton's captain and left-back Tony Raines was at work as usual, with the club's right-back Robin Jones.
You've got to note this and this.
Yeah, I think that'll come up on your screen there.
That's right. It's far more security having a job and the football as well. The football, although we get a small amount for it, is a hobby. So at the end of the day, we're not good enough or we don't feel that we want to carry on. We've always got the security of coming back to a job, so you know, there's a lot to be said for that.
And a game night tomorrow must be a dream, isn't it?
That's right. Middlesbrough last year was a highlight for us, and then to get Coventry First Division top 6, that's our ambition and that's what we want to do. That's all we play for, really, and just to prove ourselves against the big boys.
Back at the club, they were busy preparing for today's big event, the local Rotary Club's lunch. Sutton's manager, Barry Williams, also has to run the commercial side.
The commercial side is important because we don't have benefactors and the gate money is modest. So therefore we must utilise our bars and our main hall where the functions are held to produce revenue to sustain the club.
Coventry, they won the trophy, they won the FA Cup 2 years ago. How do you view them tomorrow?
We have had Coventry watched. We know they're 5th in the First Division and we know they're a high-quality side and we know under ordinary circumstances we would not have a great deal of chance to win this game. But the FA Cup, fortunately, is not considered to be ordinary circumstances. And then when the game starts at 2 o'clock tomorrow in front of 8,000 fans, I'm just hoping that their uncertainty of the non-league arenas and our psychological advantages with having the home crowd vociferously on our side may produce just the surprise of the round.
I hope so. He's a wonderful manager. Go there and you get a lesson in history, which he was a history teacher. And he says, by the way, that Kipling verse that he's written in the programme here also applies to the spectators tomorrow. So they're the most educated crowd at Sutton, I'll tell you. No running race this weekend for me, but I'm...
Suburbia exultant. Wimbledon didn't just win the cup, they also opened the door on possibility. If SW19 could be as strong as Merseyside, then it follows that never again could we regard London's commuter land as a footballing dead end. Sutton, 30 minutes away by train from the city, almost nobbled Middlesbrough last season. They came that close to victory in the replay. The home side did scramble a single goal, and whilst it was hard fought for, seemed cloaked in the embarrassment that comes with being practically humbled by non-leaguers who won respect if nothing else. Last year, Sutton beat Aldershot and Peterborough, both league sides. This year, the passage has been more modest. The part-timers, most of whom have excellent jobs ranging from bank manager to commodity broker, exude the air of a team quite simply enjoying an excursion from obscurity. The draw against Coventry caused them little anxiety.
I must admit, when we were waiting for the draw, I mean, we were sort of looking for someone to say like Everton or Liverpool. But the next best thing is really a team like Coventry, who I think at the time were third from top in the First Division.
Probably Coventry supporters still fortify themselves on the memories of their cup win 2 years ago. Elation has eventually to give way to realism. Coventry go to Sutton with a fine pedigree, which nevertheless is ripe for plucking.
This time we envisage that another 25,000 possibly will come into the kitty, which of course will be ploughed back, and mainly on the social side, which at non-league level is so important for the future of the club. We can't be guaranteed playing in the FA Cup third round every season. I think we're very fortunate to have done it 2 years running.
Coming across a manager like Barry Williams, who used to teach English and who's as likely to quote Shakespeare as he is Tommy Docherty, does show that this is no ordinary club with ordinary thinking.
I think the psychology of the game is our one great advantage and could be the chink in their armour, in that we know that professional clubs do not like coming to non-league grounds. They've often been the graveyard of many aspiring professional sides. And I think the psychology of participation could help us. And I think the fact that we did well last year, and we know our ground, we know it will be filled to capacity, and we know the adrenaline will be running, I think that is where we might match the might of the First Division.
There could, of course, be another power at work. They have a brand new chaplain, the Reverend Peter Naylor, who sees a professional player as requiring a separate kind of coaching.
Well, I'm not there to convert him. That's the last thing I'm there for. I am there as a representative of Christ in that particular very close world, and that if I can be of any use through my availability, then I am greatly honoured.
How caught up can you become in a game? For example, if you feel that one of the opponents has perpetrated a vicious foul.
Well, I got very angry recently. I went and stood behind the goal mouth for the last half of the game. I won't name the club, and there was a foul of one of our players, and I got very angry at that moment, and if I'd have been the referee, I would have sent him off. I can get passionately concerned with what's going on. Some people want me to be praying for them. When I go in the ground, they say, you know, thank God you've come today, Vicar. You know, we need your prayers. But I think that there's a distinction between willing the team on, like a normal human being, and actually praying for the club.
A Monday bank holiday afternoon in Sutton, Maidstone the opponents in little danger of claustrophobia on the terraces. Tony Pamphlet scores a sloppy goal for the visitors, thus driving potential cheerleaders to doses of caffeine. Sutton probably have Coventry on their minds. Fear of injury is always a big handicap during Cup week, but they do fight back. Matthew Hanlon finds a little inspiration. Roger's shot is pounced upon by Paul McKinnon, who 8 years ago played for Malmo, thus confirming the manager's belief in the strong team spirit.
Certainly the Coventry players will be far superior to us in terms of technique and ability, and of course they have the advantage of being able to train together every day in their professional capacity. So what we have is a sense of teamship, and the faith that I have in the possibility that a victory might be achieved is based on that the team spirit will carry us through.
Electronic trivial pursuits takes the mind off Saturday and the game that really matters for just a little while. They score well here, but Coventry will be asking different questions which might not stimulate just as much satisfaction to Sutton as this computer does.
Well, 5 divisions separate Sutton and Coventry, but in the Cup, strange things happen. Do you want an up-to-date example? Let's go back to Greavsie.
In Church Street. One raped her, the others beat her up. And in Hertfordshire, a 20-year-old woman is in hospital after a man followed her from the train, stabbed her and tried to rape her. She travelled from Liverpool Street, changed at Broxbourne and gone on to Rye House. The man attacked her in a recreation ground. The villagers of Birchett's Green near Maidenhead are preparing for battle to keep out an International Museum of Food and Farming the County Council wants to put there. Jerry Arnfield reports.
It's the thought of up to 30,000 visitors a day that worries the villagers of Birchett's Green. Many claim they would devastate both the environment and the local community.
This means that there's going to be a great deal of building, of bricks and mortars, of concrete, of tarmac, and also a vast amount of traffic into our small area.
Berkshire County Council admit they're keen to have the museum, but stress that so far no final decision has been taken. An argument that doesn't satisfy the villagers.
The County Council initially misled us by not giving us a press release of details, and subsequently they've not replied to our letter of October asking for further information.
The county promises consultation next month. The people say that's too late. Jerry Arnfield, LWT News.
Today's the big day for the little soccer clubs in the region. 2 non-league clubs are facing league opposition in the FA Cup. Welling United meet 2nd Division Blackburn Rovers in the biggest game in the club's 25-year history. The town's rallied round the club, hoping the Wings will stage a major cup upset. And at Sutton, the local team take on 1st Division Coventry. Tom Walker is at the ground.
It's not exactly Anfield, but Gander Green Lane is a place the top sides would rather avoid. Sutton are no strangers to the 3rd round of the Cup, and last year's 2nd Division pace-setters Middlesbrough were lucky to get a draw here. Today it's the turn of the 1987 FA Cup winners Coventry City.
Coventry don't stand a chance. Sutton are going to win 2-1, no hassle at all.
Definitely, they don't stand a chance. David Speedy's got all the mouth, all the gift of the gab. But once he gets in there with Paul Rodgers, I'll tell you, they don't stand a chance. Prediction Sutton 2-1, no problem.
While Coventry will include £750,000 David Speedy in their lineup, the most Sutton have spent on a player is £3,000. But the Vauxhall Conference side don't just want to be remembered as cloggers.
We've got a good side, and it's up to them really on the day. We've done everything to prepare. It's up to them now to actually fulfil our hopes and dreams.
And good luck to Sutton, and it'll be a good day for the match. Although it'll be cloudy, it should stay dry and mild. Temperature 10 degrees Celsius, 50 Fahrenheit. That's it. We're back at 5:10.
The quest to find a successors to Wimbledon as winners of the FA Cup begins today. We've a full preview. We look at Coventry, winners in '87, who are celebrating the return of 2 Cup heroes, Lloyd McGrath and Dave Bennett. We hear from Kenny Sansom, who's left his problems at Arsenal behind and is starting afresh on Tyneside. And today's 3rd round draw has produced some interesting ties that echo finals gone by.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good day.
And our first programme of the new year, Jim.
Yes, we will try and get it right this year, Saint. That's our New Year's resolution, isn't it? But it's a smashing day because, especially for players, as you and I have experienced, all the dreams and hopes of getting to Wembley, and it all starts today.
That's right.
And as you know, most of us get disillusioned, but we won't argue about that at the moment.
Right, well, James, first, a reminder of the unpredictability of the Cup. Last year's final promised to be the most one-sided for years as Liverpool aimed for the double. Well, how wrong we all were.
That's a good free kick. And Beardsley's on his way, and has put Liverpool. No, there's an infringement there. The whistle had already gone for the free kick. Young is right in there. Sanchez in there too. I don't have to tell you that Passion is in there. Here's Wise with the free kick, and it's in there. Well, Sanchez has put Wimbledon ahead. I think Craig Johnson's shortly to come on, but it's with Aldridge at the moment. That's a penalty. The foul by Goodyear on Aldridge. Saved brilliantly by Besant. Amazing. Dennis Wise. And Big Dave Besant lifts the cup for Wimbledon.
Well, today's draw has produced a good crop of matches where the away team may feel a little vulnerable, including Wimbledon, who go to second division strugglers Birmingham. Well, we'll get Jimmy's prediction shortly, but first a check on how the Crewe Aston Villa game is going. It kicked off at midday, and among the crowd at Greavsie Road is Peter Brackley.
Just over an hour gone, and what a cup tie here. It's Crewe 2, Aston Villa 2. And this after the 4th Division leaders had taken a 2-goal lead. Mark Gardner's superb volley after only 5 minutes. And then on 34 minutes, a spectacular headed own goal by Martin Keown. But now Villa, having been outplayed in the first half, are right back in the game. First a goal from David Platt against his old club. And then, just a few minutes ago, Kevin Gage with the second for Villa from long range. What a cup tie here. It's 2-2.
Well, there you are, James. Almost a shock.
Well,
in the
almost. Well, it may still be. There's still half an hour to go,
yeah.
isn't it?
2-0 up. I mean, you know,
a good game, didn't it?
2-0 up for Crewe at one stage.
Yeah.
I mean, the Villa boys must have been panicking. But that is the cup. That's what we see, the predictability of the cup.
That's it, mate.
Right. Well, perhaps the classic pairing of the weekend is Sutton United, 13th in the GM Vauxhall Conference, against Coventry, 5th in Division 1, and won us 2 years ago. Before he headed off to Crewe, Peter Brackley prepared this report on the match at Gander Green Lane.
Wembley 1987, and the elation of Coventry City's finest hour. Their FA Cup final win over Tottenham, bringing them the first major trophy in the club's history. Wembley, though, a far cry from Gander Green Lane in South London, where today Sutton from the GM Vauxhall Conference are planning the same kind of reception they offered Middlesbrough this time last year.
Tony Mowbray up and Gary Pallister, these two big fellows who provided such a barrier for Middlesbrough across their own penalty area this afternoon, now coming up to see what they can do at the other end. And it's Pallister's goal. Chris Stevens with the free kick. Golly's made a run in there.
Mark Golly's goal earned Sutton a replay at Ayresome Park. And it was only in extra time that they finally succumbed to Paul Kerr's winning goal. They'll find Coventry, though, in resilient mood, with cup final heroes David Bennett and Lloyd McGrath at last returning to the side from broken legs. They thrashed Sheffield Wednesday 5-0 on Monday. Steve Sedgley here, heading the first from a David Smith cross. Enter then the irrepressible David Speedie, an outstanding hat-trick of headers. Again, Smith, the provider for this one. Coventry hit peak form. Bennett here laying on a second goal for Speedie, who'd been restored to the attack alongside Cyril Regis. It clearly wasn't Sheffield Wednesday's day. A clash with McGrath in midfield ended with their Icelandic international Siggy Jonsson being sent off. Speedie's aerial timing is quite phenomenal. Again, his finishing power left Wednesday's defence floundering. And to complete a thoroughly convincing Coventry performance, a penalty awarded for a handling offence gave Brian Kilcline, now reinstated as captain for Coventry, the chance to make it 5-0, and in the most emphatic fashion. What a bonus, too, in FA Cup week for John Sillett to have again the services of Wembley stars Bennett and McGrath.
Yeah, you'll always miss a ball winner in midfield. You'll always miss that. And you'll miss somebody that really reads the midfield as Lloyd does. He's always covering for people's mistakes, and he's always first to the ball, which is very important in the side. David's ability is his first touch is excellent. He slows the game down nicely. He looks as though he's just strolling through a game, and suddenly he'll do that unexpected little bit of magic in a corner, cross the ball, or he'll come in and notch a goal for you. His goal record is very good, David.
And a chance for Bennett! And it's 1-1! Hatchin. It remains a very, very good FA Cup final. And Hatchin! What a magnificent goal! Bennett made it!
So we've been encouraging each other to push on. And it's been tremendous, really. He's helped me more than anything, along with George Dalton and a few other people. But to have someone training with you, obviously, is a tremendous boost.
There's times when you want to push on, but you know, you can't because you can't do it. Like sort of jogging, when you're supposed to be jogging, you tend to try and sprint. You're not going anywhere. So you've got to take your time and be really patient. Then once you do get back playing reserve games, I've had a couple of injuries doing that, so that's put me back a few weeks and whatever.
Well, here you are then, back on the cup scene, the side playing well from Monday. How infectious is it all now, and how much are you motivated by the thought of Wembley again?
Makes my hair stand on end, this does, Pete. It's great. No, it's lovely. Last year was a difficult year. Last year, you know, the year after winning the Cup, we found that very difficult. But this year, I think we've all settled down and said, right, let's get back there again. You know, you've got to win, 5 matches. Now, I think we've got that ability. We're strong at the back. We're very sound at the back. We've got the midfield players now to win the ball and to create. And up front, we've got goal scorers. So they're qualities that will win you a Cup. And our keeper, you know, has got to be one of the best in the First Division.
Jim, it's a very interesting game, but you've been up to Coventry, haven't you, sampled the
Yeah,
atmosphere?
last few weeks I've been up there. I had a chat with Snoz and a cup of tea and a bacon sandwich, and there's a great atmosphere, a lot of humour around the Coventry training ground at the moment, and everything's going well for them, and they're making it go. They're a good side, they're a good club.
But, I mean, it's not an easy one this today, is it?
Oh, well, I mean, Gander Green Lane is not exactly on the map of the world, is it? Sutton United, well, they made Middlesbrough go a bit last year.
They didn't have, that's right.
And as you know, I'm a great advocate of the old non-league clubs, but I do honestly think that Coventry will be a little bit too strong for us.
And maybe Wembley again? I mean, Snoz is quite confident there.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, as I say, if it's all about spirit, then yeah, definitely, they've got as good a chance as any.
Yeah, and the league form is good as well. Right, well, sporting of the...
Emotional scenes here at Gander Green Lane, Sutton. Down in the Surrey stockbroker belt, they're not used to this. Sutton United of the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, the cup holders themselves, less than 2 years ago. And the fans just can't believe it. Look at this. Their side took the lead on 42 minutes. Tony Raines, the left back, with a header from a corner. Coventry equalised 7 minutes into the second half, David Phillips, and then this man, Trevor Roffey, the goalkeeper, and his valiant defenders kept out everything that Coventry could throw at them, while at the other end, Matthew Hanlon, a 22-year-old winger, finished off another move from a corner to give Sutton a glorious victory. Coventry fought hard towards the end, 3 or 4 efforts crashed against post or bar or were cleared off the line, but the Sutton goal bore a charmed life, because this indeed was their greatest day.
Great day.
Tonight celebrating one of the great giant-killing acts of the FA Cup. They beat Coventry, 5th in the First Division, and Cup winners in '87, 2-1. A record crowd of 8,000 at Sutton watched captain Tony Raines score just before half-time. David Phillips levelled the score 7 minutes into the second half, and then bricklayer Matthew Hanlon scored Sutton's winner.
There's still a long way to go before the Wembley final, but tonight non-league Sutton United could say what they pleased. As defeated, dejected Coventry reversed homeward, the celebrations continued inside the humble Gander Green Lane Stadium. For 22-year-old bricklayer Matthew Hanlon, who scored the winning goal, it was a fairy tale result.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt, it's super.
And how far can Sutton go now?
Well, after today's performance, we can take anybody, can't we, really?
But it's now the job of Sutton's management to bring the part-timers down to earth.
They've all got to go to work on Monday, and that'll bring them down out of the clouds, because they will still have to earn their livings. And then I suppose on Tuesday night when we come in training, then the euphoria will start to flow again and be an even stronger bond in the team spirit which carried them through today.
Sutton supporters may be celebrating, but the bookies are not as sure. They're still offering odds of 1,000 to 1 against a Sutton sensation at Wembley. Terry Lloyd, ITN Sport, at Gander Green Lane.
Reputation for providing upsets with 3 first.
Always reach the parts that other competitions fail to reach. Today, the Cup reached out to the people once again. Gate receipts broken at West Brom, at Bradford, at non-league Sutton. The stories of those matches coming right up. Good evening. We have action from 3 of the day's third-round FA Cup ties, and superb action it is too. Sutton United last played a First Division club in the Cup 19 years ago when they were swamped by the then mighty Leeds 6-0. Today, Sutton face First Division opposition again, the 1987 Cup winners, Coventry City. Spurs, the club that Coventry beat in that final, last played away to Bradford City in the Cup in 1970. Mr. Greaves kept them in business that day. Spurs' current G-man Paul Gascoigne was still not fit for today's tie at Valley Parade, where Second Division Bradford City had already beaten Everton in the Littlewoods Cup. Our third match is a repeat of the 1968 Cup final, when West Brom beat Everton with this Jeff Astle goal. Astle and the rest of that victorious Cup-winning side were amongst a crowd of 31,000 at the Hawthorns today to see the current team take on Everton again. Albion are led by a man who knows about winning Cup medals, Brian Talbot. Talbot's leadership on and off the field has already taken West Brom from 18th to top of the Second Division in 12 weeks. But first, it's Sutton against Coventry. Non-league Sutton playing in the third round for the third time. Coventry currently 5th in the First Division. John Motson commentates.
Sutton United welcomed by a capacity 8,000 crowd. It's a big day for the GM Vauxhall Conference Club, especially for their centre-forward Lenny Dennis. He's played in the World Cup qualifiers for Jamaica. He's scored in every round of the FA Cup this season, and now he shares the same pitch as his favourite player, Coventry's number 9, Cyril Regis, who played here at Gander Green Lane 12 years ago when he was a virtual unknown with Hayes. Well, the team news shows that Sutton centre-half Stuart Hemsley unluckily failed a fitness test this morning, so Vernon Pratt plays at number 5. Still, there are 9 survivors from Sutton's third-round adventure last season against Middlesbrough. As for Coventry, they field the side that beat Sheffield Wednesday 5-0 on Monday. David Bennett and Lloyd McGrath are now both back after each breaking a leg. So there are 7 survivors from the cup-winning team of 2 seasons ago, plus Keith Houchin, who is one of the subs today. The true flavour of the FA Cup. Coventry City in sky blue, who played at Wembley in front of nearly 100,000 people less than 2 years ago, playing from right to left. David Bennett on the ball for the number 7 against the team from the GM Vauxhall Conference in yellow, Sutton United. First cross in for Coventry. Sedgley's there, and it came off Golly, and Sedgley again. And once more, Nigel Golly in the way to concede the corner. Sedgley, who went close. Well, that could have been the start that Sutton didn't want. There's Kilcline, and Regis nearly in there. Heavily sanded penalty area, but good playing surface here at Sutton, helped perhaps by a little overnight rain. Softened it up rather. Sutton's normal crowd here about 750. It was Rogers and Hanlon closing in. Smith. Down the line for David Phillips. Regis. Free kick. Nigel Golly on Cyril Regis. Well, so far, Sutton have seemed most concerned when the ball has been played across their penalty area in the air. We'll see if it happens again here. Speedy is up well, and Kilcline is there. And straight at the keeper from the Coventry captain. Just been restored to the captaincy, Brian Kilcline, and he'll feel there that he might have scored. David Speedy, I think you'll see a very good jump on the far side of the area, getting up tremendously well, and Kilcline might have placed that better. Here's Mickey Stevens. And there's Dennis again. McKinnon waiting in the centre, so is Hanlon. Corner off Kilcline. First corner for Sutton United. At the heart of what's proving a good little spell for them. And we'll see Golly and Pratt go forward now. They were working on these near-post corners only this morning on a little pitch over at the back of the ground. Stevens to take. And Steve Sedgley out as far as Rogers with the header back in. McKinnon is there. And Hanlon! And Greavsie saved it, and Dennis! So close for Sutton. Matthew Hanlon wondering how it stayed out. It's going to be a corner on the far side again, but great excitement here. Sedgley again, the defender. David Phillips breaks away for a very relieved Coventry City, while the Sutton supporters debate that goal-mouth scramble and how close their team came. Smith to Speedy. And here's Regis offside. Well, Steve Greavsie here had some work to do. First of all, Sedgley clears the corner. The shot coming in is from Paul Rogers. A header, in fact, back in. And then, onside, it falls for Hanlon. That's a good save. And the angle wasn't in Dennis's favour, it was a corner. And McKinnon to Stevens. And both Dennis and McKinnon here against Kilcline for the moment. This is McKinnon. Three waiting and a corner. Well, what a good time this would be to get a goal. Especially for the part-timers. Pratt and Golly in the 6-yard box waiting. And Golly, and Rains, and a goal! And they have done it! And Tony Rains, the left back, is the hero of Sutton, for the time being at least. Now, this morning, on a bleak park pitch, just behind the ground, they were working on this corner, and how it's paid off. The man to flick it on is Golly. And Rains, the number 3, puts that header past the man on the line. Kilcline and Sutton are in front. It's the 42nd minute, and Kilcline couldn't keep it out. He only helped it in. Well, what will Coventry do about that? Now, Regis. Bennett. And away by Pratt from Speedy. It's going to be a corner to Coventry in the dying seconds of the first half here. This is Phillips to Smith. Here comes Regis, and now Kilcline. Golly's header out to McKinnon. And half-time with Sutton United leading First Division Coventry City to the delight of their supporters, and how fitting that the goal should be scored by long-serving Tony Rains, who with his brother have played some 1,300 matches for this club but Tony hasn't played in one perhaps quite like this against such powerful opposition. 1-0 at half-time to Sutton. Well, one thing that is common to the level of football that Sutton play at, and indeed to the First Division where Coventry are, is the success of the near-post corner. It works again in this cup tie. So hard to defend against. Here's Smith for Coventry. In the back, Phil Klein on Dennis. Rains with the free kick for Sutton. Up goes Dennis. Here's Stevens. Well, the one thing Coventry won't want to do is concede another corner after what happened in the 42nd minute. This is Bennett. And now Sedgley, and Phillips has made a run from left back, and there's danger here for Sutton United, and Phillips has put Coventry City level. After 52 minutes, the Welsh international timing his run perfectly from deep. This was a splendid run by Phillips. Look at the way he bisects those two defenders, and he gets on the end of it on his right foot, which he favours, although he's playing left back today. And he turned that comfortably past Trevor Roffey. So 7 minutes after half-time, Sedgley made the running here for Coventry, saw what was on, placed that ball perfectly in the space, and David Phillips scores. That's a good-looking ball. David Phillips again. Now Bennett has gone to the left to have a run at the other full-back, no doubt, Jones. And he seems to have outpaced him. But there was cover on from little Phil Dawson, midfield player. And he's found Lenny Dennis. That was a foul by Sedgley. Robin Jones to take the free kick for Sutton. Klein was stretching a bit there, and happy in the end to just get it away. Mickey Stevens takes the corners on both sides, so we could look for another good delivery from him. Here's Dawson. Oh, and driven in! And number 11, Matthew Hanlon, followed that in. And Sutton have done it again from a corner kick, bringing this little ground to life once more. And the Coventry defence was standing still. They've restored their lead. And Hanlon salutes the crowd. It was the decoy, really, from the corner. Coventry were expecting a direct cross. Dawson floats the ball in. It's flicked on, and Hanlon is the player who finishes it off from close in. 59 minutes gone. Good ball in by Dawson. Greavsie lost it, and Hanlon was there. 2-1 to Sutton. In by Rains. Oh, what a chance again here! Oh, Hanlon again. Could have been 3-1. Well, this lad's 22. He works as a master bricklayer. And he's certainly building something here for Sutton United, because he's sneaking in on the blind side of the Coventry defence, and they're not picking him up. Smith. And there goes Speedy, and here comes Regis, surely! Oh! How did he miss that? I wouldn't think even he's sure. The ball delivered by Smith. It's the touch from Speedy that sets Regis up. He seemed to get away from Golly. Oh, the goalkeeper on the legs, wasn't it? Well, no corner has been given, but I just wonder if that goes down as a good save by Trevor Roffey. In the meantime, Cyril Regis has made his last contribution to this cup tie, because with that shot, he is substituted. The man who's come on to replace Regis is Keith Houchin, who tends to be a lucky mascot when it comes to the FA Cup. I wonder if he will be today. Yes, I'm sure that touched the keeper. Speedy to Sedgley. Now then, Coventry have got a break. They've got 5 players to his right. And off Golly, and they appeal for handball, but it's given the other way against David Speedy. To the mighty relief of Sutton United. And to Speedy's disbelief. I think he was penalised for a foul here on Nigel Golly, David Speedy, or did he handle it first? I think perhaps it hit Speedy's arm before it caught the number 4. 8 minutes to go. Coventry have got to take risks now. They've got to just throw players forward and risk the fact that Sutton may score again at the other end. This is Smith. It's a teasing cross. Houchin's up there, and Roffey onto the bar, and Sedgley now. Play on, and McGrath and Bennett get in each other's way. How did that stay out? Well, that was the great escape as far as Sutton were concerned, and Coventry with Barry Williams, whose nerves must have been on edge. He even took the pipe out of his mouth there, because this was the closest Coventry have been to making it 2-2. Houchin's header, keeper struggling a bit against Speedy on the bar, Sedgley post and bar, would you believe, and then McGrath in Bennett's way. All of which might suggest to you that this is going to be Sutton's day, or perhaps it'll encourage Coventry in these last 7 minutes to find a way through and rescue this potentially calamitous situation for them. The possibility of the cup holders of 2 seasons ago going out on the ground of a team not even in the Barclays League, for whom Stevens is doing a useful job here now. Good cross. Time is running out for Coventry City. 6 minutes. David Phillips. Sedgley. It needed the flick on from McGrath, and he's found Smith. Houchin's in the middle. Chance perhaps here for Coventry. Oh, not with a cross like that. Poor delivery by Smith. However, it is going to be a corner. Speedy's up there again. Kilcline waiting. Corner. Sutton have got some anxious defending to do yet, that's for sure. They've got 5 minutes to survive. Trevor Peake has now come forward. Kilcline! Oh, off the line. Robin Jones, was it? The right back? Well, I think he was standing on the right-hand post and somehow rescued his goalkeeper and his side. Kilcline got the header down. Look at the flick up from the fullback. Kilcline again with the keeper who's gone down. Peake! Houchin couldn't get there. Hearts in their mouths now for these Sutton defenders. Trevor Peake lofted it back in. But it would seem that the Sutton goal with 4 minutes left is bearing a charmed life. Houchin against Golly. Wasn't the best of touches from the number 4, and Houchin will settle for the corner. And they've survived 3 or 4 close things from corner kicks, have Sutton, and Bennett will swing this one in again, looking perhaps for Kilcline or Peake. Houchin on the 6-yard line. 3 Sutton players go for it. Sedgley, goal kick. Anxious whistles starting to echo round the ground here at Gander Green Lane as the fans savour the real possibility of a cup shot in the Surrey stockbroker belt. Forward by Stevens. Well, I wouldn't think they've had a day quite like this down here before, and they may never have another one, who knows. They won't be closer than this after the disappointment of Leeds all those years ago here, beaten 6-0 Sutton then, and the bitter pill that they had to swallow last year up at Middlesbrough after doing so well. This could be their finest hour, but can Coventry cancel it out? Here's Bennett. And they may yet. This is Houchin. And Phillips. And Smith. And wide. He knows that with only 2 minutes left, that could prove a costly miss. And Barry Williams, who quotes Shakespeare and quotes Kipling, well, tomorrow morning, if it stays like this, the papers will be quoting the Sutton manager. After the ecstasy of Wembley, John Sillett is within touching distance of being on the other end of a cup sensation. Speedy. Phillips. Bennett has got a bit of space. He hasn't now. That was Paul Rogers in the way. McKinnon couldn't control it, but Rogers could. Well, it's going to have to be last gasp stuff now if Coventry City are going to save themselves as 8,000 supporters, most of them, of course, following the underdogs, wonder just how much more time the referee will allow after the 90 minutes is up. Robin Jones, at right back, concedes the corner. This could be Coventry's last chance. Peak. Off the line again, this time I think by Rogers. Smith. Wide again, sliced it. Well, Trevor Roffey in goal there has been mighty glad of the help of his own defenders on a couple of occasions when he could do nothing about it. They've scrambled a couple away from the line for him. In this tremendous cup tie atmosphere. And there it is! Sutton United of the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. Barry Williams' finest moment. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side down in the stockbroker country. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. Twice in front. The second time they were able to hold on. Both goals from corners. And Sutton United write their name all over the third round of the FA Cup in 1989, following in the footsteps of teams in the past from outside the league who put out First Division opposition. There haven't been too many. When it happens, it's headline news. And the headlines today belong to Sutton United and Barry Williams. Wonderful scenes here. Barry Williams started his programme notes with a verse of poetry today, and he may feel that there's something poetic about the way his side went out and defeated a First Division side.
And Barry's with us now. An emotional day. You've just about recovered, I take it.
Oh yes, I think we're getting back to normal.
One of the most satisfying things about your win must be that you came back after Coventry had equalised, because that's when non-league sides tend to fade away, isn't it?
Yes, but I think it was the experience we had last year with our cup run against Aldershot, Peterborough, Middlesbrough. It gave the lads an indication of what to expect. So when we conceded that goal, they didn't let their heads drop, and they composed themselves and said, well, we must start again and work on the things that we know we can do. And that was very gratifying.
Here are the two goals. You were particularly pleased with the build-up, weren't you?
Yes, yes. It's nice to get a near-post header in, and the delivery was excellent. And of course, once you get the flick on at the near post, if you've got the people going into the right place at the right time, you score goals. This one was even better, because they were all expecting something entirely different. And we had two men possibly that could have scored, but a very, very good volley by Matthew Hanlon. Right place at the right time.
You get a lot of publicity for being an ex-teacher of English and looking rather stoic and all the rest of it. What did you write in the programme today? Oh, look here now, look at this. You nearly went in the bath, didn't you?
Well, yes. but I just had my blazer cleaned, and I said that I didn't want to particularly get that wet, but the next thing was my receding hairline on the shampoo. Yes.
What did you write in the programme today, though? You usually put a bit of Shakespeare in, or was it Kipling today?
Well, it was Kipling today. I felt that we should pay tribute not only to the players, but to the whole club, because we had an army of people working. Right. You know, the volunteers helping with the stewarding and the selling of the programmes. So I felt that little bit of Kipling was appropriate.
Yes, if you can keep your head and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
What about Coventry? How did they take the defeat there today?
Oh, they were very good, and they conducted themselves excellently, and it was very nice at the end of the game when their 2,000 fans at the Collingwood Road end, they just didn't leave despondently, but they stood and applauded the Sutton players off the field, and I thought that spoke volumes for the type of people they were, and they were true football supporters, accepting defeat and victory. And after all, they have won the cup but 2 years ago, so they know the joys, and now today they conducted themselves in the little despondency they must have felt at that result.
Well, that's marvellous, because football needs that sort of attitude.
Yes.
Who do you fancy in the next round? We must ask you that.
Yes, I suppose so. Well, what we would like is somebody at home, because we now know that nobody will enjoy the prospect of coming to Sutton United. You know, it was nice today too. Yesterday, I had a phone call from Bruce Rioch of Middlesbrough, who we had close ties with him last year, and he took the time out to wish us the very best of luck. And then the club itself sent us a telegram into the dressing room. So we appreciated that, because we made friends up there, and that was good.
Great day all round.
Excellent.
Thanks for coming in, Barry. Well, now we go to Valley Parade, where second...
If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, or lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth, and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
But we'll accept what's given.
Well, Gander Green Lane, it would be a great venue to have Liverpool there, but they are ready at the FA, and we're waiting now and just going over to the FA headquarters. The first voice is Ted Croker.
This is the draw for the fourth round of the Football Association Challenge Cup. The home teams will be drawn by Mr. Ernest Brown, the chairman of the Challenge Cup Committee, and the away teams will be drawn by Mr. Arthur McMullen, the vice chairman of the FA Council. And Mr. Brown will now commence the draw.
Number 27.
Bradford City.
Number 13.
Against Hull City.
Number 8.
Aston Villa.
Number 32.
Against Wimbledon.
Number 20.
Manchester United or Queen's Park Rangers.
Number 18.
Against Sunderland or Oxford United.
Number 21.
Nottingham Forest.
Number 10.
Against Leeds United.
Number 31.
Portsmouth or Swindon Town.
Number 7.
Against West Ham United or Arsenal.
Number 3.
Stoke City.
Number 16.
Against Barnsley.
Number 6.
Plymouth Argyle.
Number 15.
Against West Bromwich Albion or Everton.
Number 9.
Grimsby Town.
Number 17.
Against Tranmere Rovers or Reading.
Number 30.
Norwich City.
Number 4.
Against Sutton United.
Number 5.
Hartlepool United.
Number 28.
Against AFC Bournemouth.
Number 23.
Blackburn Rovers.
Number 25.
Against Sheffield Wednesday.
Number 12.
Walsall or Brentford.
Number 26.
Against Manchester City.
Number 1.
Newcastle United or Watford.
Number 14.
Against Derby County or Southampton.
Number 11.
Millwall.
Number 2.
Against Liverpool.
Number 24.
Sheffield United.
Number 22.
Against Colchester United.
Number 19.
Charlton Athletic.
Number 29.
Against Kettering Town or Halifax Town. That completes the draw, and these matches will be played on the 28th of January.
Well, thank you very much, Barry. If you could have been in this studio at that moment, you probably saw Barry Williams' reaction. It was sort of at first amazement, and then you just burst out laughing.
Yeah, the fantasy continues, doesn't it? We always said the FA Cup was unreal, but this is going beyond the bounds of possibility.
Norwich City, what do you know about them?
Well, once again, not very much, but they are quite high in the First Division, so it seems to be a habit for us now to go to the top of the First Division and see what we can do with them.
You don't think you'll be overawed, though, do you?
Oh,
I mean, you
not
don't have
at
to be overawed about anybody having beaten Coventry.
Not at all. I mean, we regard it as an experience that we look forward to once again. Just part and parcel of everyday life now.
One or two of those other ties, Barry, I can pick out for you. Aston Villa against the cup holders, Wimbledon.
Yes, now that's going to be an interesting tie, isn't it? I must say I'm not disappointed that we're not playing Wimbledon. But that's going to be a hard game.
And there's Millwall against Liverpool, which is an all First Division one. That's
yes.
An interesting one, to say the least.
That's right, that's right. There's a number of interesting ties there, aren't there? You know, that Barnsley result on Saturday was quite significant.
Barnsley beating Chelsea so comprehensively,
that's right.
Yes.
And they're playing away to Stoke. So I think it's the sort of draw that the more one looks at, the more one can see in it.
I think if you look at it, Barry, I think the most attractive tie outside those two First Division ones is definitely your tie there at Carrow Road.
Yes, it is, isn't it? I mean, there's a little touch of unreality about it all, a little touch of fantasy. So that's what the Cup is all about, isn't it? And should add a little more spice to it, I would think.
How do you think your lads will have reacted to it?
I think with amazement and utter joy, same as me.
It's really like that, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Well, we'll be joining Barry again in about half an hour's time. We'll go through the full draw and we're making a little bit more comment on that fourth round draw.
Thanks, Bob.
Well, what a good time this would be to get a goal. And Golly, and Rains, and a goal! And they have done it! And Tony Rains, the left back, is the hero of Sutton, for the time being at least. This is Bennett. And now Sedgley. And Phillips has made a run from left back, and there's danger here for Sutton United. And Phillips has put Coventry City level. Here's Dawson.